Now, most people think that shadows are just darker versions of the main color on an object, but convincing shadows are so much more than that. To create shadows that feel real and convincing, you need to understand the structure of light and how to translate that into paint. And in this video, I'm going to break that down and show you how to make very real and convincing shadows like we see in this painting, where you can just feel that sense of light because of how convincing the shadows are. Now, the goal here isn't just to paint something that looks like a shadow. If you make a flat, darker shape on something, it's generally going to read like a shadow, but it's not going to feel like one. There's a big difference between the two of them. So all that to say, we don't just want to create a symbol of a shadow, but the presence of one. Painting is about creating a visual experience, and it's about translating atmosphere, light, color, space into something that feels real, not just symbolic. All right, so now let's dive into how we actually do this and make this happen in our painting. So the first thing to understand is that shadows do not belong to the object, but they belong to the light. Now, some of these things might seem rather obvious to a lot of us, but not understanding how they apply to painting is what leads to many just creating cut out, unrealistic shadows. And a big reason for that is that a lot of us see shadows as being part of an object, being the property of an object, because they see it as being a thing. Even if you don't think that you see it that way, we often do, because it's our natural way to see things, is just to see everything as a thing. And we have to really work on that and see it as just a condition of light, because that's really what it is. Now, if you do think of shadows as an object and part of an object, then you will just think of it as a darker version of the color. So if you're painting an apple, a red apple, then you'll just paint the shadow a dark red, and you won't really look deeper into it, observe deeper into that. But when you understand that shadows belong to a light system, you ask very different questions. Where's the light coming from? How strong is it? What is the light bouncing off of? What is the atmosphere like? Etc., etc., etc. And when you begin to ask those kinds of questions, you start to not see shadows as things and objects, but rather something very complex created by light. And we begin to see shadows in terms of spots of color, which is how we want and need to see as painters in order to be able to create very real, to create shadows that feel very real and convincing. Now, to demonstrate this and show this, I just got a simple white sphere to paint from. I really recommend working from just very simple things just to gain a deep, just clear understanding of how things work. Now, on our sphere here that I'm going to paint, we have what's called a form shadow, and that is the shadow that is on the subject, on the object. And we have the light, of course, and we have then the halftone that is in between the light and the shadow, and then we have the shadow. And what we're going to focus on here really is the halftone and the shadow. But of course, we need to paint the light in order for us to have the shadow. All right, so to start the painting here, I first paint the background area, that darker background area that we see against the light part of the sphere where the light is hitting it. So paint those areas first, and then I get into more of the shadow area once I have that light part laid down. And I first, of course, paint the halftones because that is what is right up against the light area. And I'm thinking of these as I'm laying down them as spots of value. And this is how you want to see it. And this goes back to what I said earlier, how you don't want to see it as them as objects, but just as spots of value. And that's what is really going to help you to make your shadows look really convincing and real, because it helps you to just observe much more closely what you're looking at when you see it in that way and not as a thing. All right, and what's really important as we transition from kind of the light to the full-on shadow area is that you want to have these soft edges, these soft transitions as you go through, because if you don't, if you have sharp edges, it's going to kind of kill that effect of the shadow. And that leads us into the fact that shadow areas are actually compressed in value. So when you look at a shadow, when you paint a shadow, you aren't going to have this wide range of value in the shadow area. You're not going to have this really, really dark with kind of a lighter, much lighter dark. It's going to be rather compressed and narrow. And this is actually really important. And it's a mistake that I did often kind of as I was learning painting. I would look into the shadow too much. And for example, if I would see the reflected light, which we're going to get more into later on in this video. We're going to talk about reflected lights. But I would see the reflected light, which is that lighter area in a shadow, and then I would see the much darker part of the shadow, the core shadow, and then I would make this wide range of values in the shadow, and it would lose its effect entirely. It wouldn't feel like a shadow, it wouldn't read like a shadow. So keep yourself away from that. Keep your shadows simple and compressed. And one of the easiest ways of keeping yourself from looking into the shadow too much is to actually look at the lights. and then you can see the shadow kind of out of your peripheral vision, and you can feel just how simplified that is and how much kind of together the shadow areas are, the values are, how compressed they are. So keeping the values and the shadows unified is what helps to really maintain the illusion of light in the painting. And as you can see here in the painting demonstration, there isn't a huge range in the shadow areas as we move from the halftone to the darkest core shadow area. And in general, it's kind of a smooth transition. And that's why you really want to focus on kind of subtle shifts in value, because that's what you work with when you create shadows. Now, the importance of compressed and unified values is just as important for the cast shadow as it is for the form shadow. So here you can see right at the base of the sphere, it's a little bit darker in value. It's the darkest area of that cast shadow. Then it becomes ever so slightly lighter in value as it moves out. Now, I already mentioned that you do not want to make very contrasting values in the shadow because it's definitely not going to feel like one or read like one. And just as important as that is, it's also really important to not make your shadows too dark, not make your form shadow too dark or your cast shadow too dark. If you do that, it is going to look like a hole. One of my teachers would always call them holes because it's such an easy thing to do by accident. I would often do it kind of when really first learning painting. I would just make those, especially cast shadows, too dark, and it would just look like a hole in the surface of your painting. Now, before I move on to color and how to create shadows in color, I want to point out here in this example how you really want to make the back section of the cast shadow a soft edge, because doing so really helps to create a very believable sense of space, which in turn makes that shadow feel like it really is part of that surface. It's flat on the surface and really creates a very, very believable cast shadow. Now, one of the first important things to understand about color and shadows is that the color in the shadow area contains less color, less saturation than the area that receives direct light. So in the area that receives that direct light, you're going to have vibrant, strong, saturated color in comparison to the color in the shadow area. And because of this tends to make the shadow areas, the color in the shadow areas, more neutral and muted. And so when we mix colors for the shadow areas, we want to really think of that. And if you just make your shadow areas darker, you're not going to be lowering the saturation level. You're going to be making really bright colors just darker, and that is not going to work to create really believable and convincing shadows. Now, to look at a real life example of what this actually looks like in practice, I have this still life painting that I worked on, and it's of a coral and some other objects, and there's a pink reddish ground area. And you can see it's a cast shadow from that coral object. And I didn't just, of course, add black or brown to my pinky reddish color to make it darker. That would have not read or felt like a shadow. I muted my reddish color. I used complementary colors to mix into that color range to kind of mute the color. And of course, I also darkened it a little bit as well, but I kept the color muted. I did not keep it saturated. And so I really recommend to work with complementary colors as you're mixing up your shadow colors. So you can see here just what the complementary colors are for each of the colors. And of course, there's, colors that might slightly vary, like pink is not red, but you maybe make a lighter green that you mix into the pink color to mute it. All right, so now that we understand just how important muted colors are for making really believable shadows, let's talk about color temperature. So now, as a general rule of thumb, warm light tends to create cool shadows, while cool light tends to create warm shadows. Now, paying close attention to color temperature really does help you to make your shadows much more believable, dynamic, and realistic, because it is what helps you to make your shadows much less flat and more three-dimensional, feeling like it actually is living in the space that it's in. When we observe and experience shadows in real life, they do have a color temperature. It's something that is real. It's not something we're just making up. And I really encourage you to observe that when you go outside, when you're in your house. Just observe the shadows and just practice seeing the different kinds of color temperatures that are in certain lighting situations. Now, although I said as a general rule of thumb, cool light tends to have warm shadows and warm light tends to have cool shadows, that is just, like I said, a general rule of thumb. First and foremost, trust your observation, trust what is in front of you, what you're seeing, and view this general rule of thumb just as kind of a guideline, something to help you to observe more astutely and keenly what you're actually seeing in front of you. Because close observation is most important in painting. And when you closely observe, you will notice that there's going to be a reflected light happening in your subject. Now, a way for us to see this even more clearly is for me to here put a piece of red paper underneath the sphere, and you will notice that beautiful red bouncing up onto the sphere and give this kind of reddish reflected light. Now, nothing changed in the light, nothing changed with the object itself. All that changed was me placing this red piece of paper underneath the sphere. And as a result of that, we have this red reflection happening. Now, this is so important to always pay attention to when you're painting, because there are going to be color reflections happening all the time. There's all sorts of reflections happening just kind of all over, colors bouncing off one another. If we look at my coral painting here, you'll notice this red reflecting onto that shadow area of the lemon. Now, this is quite a small painting, but it's still really important to put in because it was very, very clear that this, that kind of pinkish red ground was reflecting on to that lemon and creating this just beautiful color. So paying attention to this is, like all the other things I've mentioned, really important in creating just very believable, kind of realistic shadows in your work. Now, after values, one of the most impactful things when it comes to creating shadows in your work are edges, especially when it comes to cast shadows. Now, I already alluded to this a bit earlier, but I really want to emphasize this because of how important it is. So when you're painting your cast shadows, really make sure that the areas that are in the back part of the cast shadow, make them really soft. Then the areas that are in front, make it ever so slightly sharper. But again, ever so slightly, just a little bit. And really observe, get the angles of your shadows correct, get the degree of how the edges change from slightly sharper to slightly softer. Really observe those things because that will really impact just how believable your shadows are, and it will really create a very believable sense of dimension in your painting, and will just add a whole new, it will feel like a shadow. And that kind of brings us back to the beginning of this video, just how important it is for you to make your shadows feel real to the viewer and to yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Doing so is completely free, and it really does help me to be able to make more of these kinds of videos. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below. I read every single comment, and I always love hearing from you. I'll see you in the next video.